Is that threat of violent protests exaggerated or real?
Yes, I believe they're exaggerated. And this is a very big country. Yes, there are going to be some protests, and yes, they will probably get out of hand. But this is a very big country that is voted for the 59th time in our history peacefully. And so I think we have reasons to be very optimistic about that. And as for a conservative Supreme Court, conservative justices on the Supreme Court, those justices have surprised us over and over again. Yes, their leanings may be that way, but they are all extraordinarily well qualified individuals. They have different views on the Constitution and its interpretation, but I think we'll be just fine.
Okay, you'll be just fine. Okay, two views on that. Let's turn to then the other critical issue. How is all this going to play out? A divided states of America playing out for the region in particular. I want to go first to Professor Kishore Mahbubani. He's joining us from Singapore, where it is late night. How do you see the neck and neck US elections playing out in the region for Asia, for India and China in particular, this kind of turbulence that we are seeing in American politics?
Well, I think this is clearly a very significant election in American history. And the likelihood, as we know, we cannot be sure, is that Biden is going to win. But even if Biden wins, it's very clear that his priority has to be and will be domestic. You know, Joe Biden knows very well that he's inheriting a deeply divided, polarized society in the United States. He sees that as his primary challenge to bring together society, to generate economic growth, to deal with COVID-19, to go back to the climate change. So all his priorities will be domestic. So in terms of the geopolitical impact in terms of the rest of the world, I think we should be psychologically ready for a less interventionist United States in the world, and certainly a less generous United States for the rest of the world. And as you know, even under President Trump, who's been a very good friend of India, he removed your generalized scheme of preferences. He cut down H-1B visas, which hurt Indians. So that's the sort of United States that we have to get used to in the coming years.
More specifically, I wanted to know, Professor Mahbubani, how you saw it playing out in the India-China dynamics. Assume, as you're saying, there's a Biden presidency. Does it become dramatically different to the way Trump viewed China, for example?
Well, actually, the paradox about Biden winning is that, you know, if Trump had won, he would have given short-term pain to China, but long-term gain to China, because as a good friend of mine in Europe said, Trump's re-election means the death of the West. But in the case of Joe Biden, he'll give short-term gain to China because he'll be much more civil and much nicer and less insulting to China. But at the same time, he'll bring back the allies of United States closer back. Europe will come back to the United States. Japan and South Korea, which were drifting away, will come back to the United States. And so in that sense, China will have to deal with a more formidable alliance with Biden in charge.
Yeah, let me take that to Kawal Sibal. Kawal Sibal, how do you see this play out from an Indian perspective at the moment? What should we be looking for? A divided states of America, an America which, as Kishore Mahbubani is saying, becomes more insular, looks inward. Is that good for India or not good for India?
I think Biden will be less insular than Trump. Biden is going to be much more engaged with the rest of the world. Look at, for example, climate change. He will come back into the Paris Agreement, certainly. He will try and save the WTO, certainly. And he will join the World Health Organization. Probably he'll rejoin UNESCO also, because the international strength of the United States depends on how much it participates in international governance. If they walk out of it, then they will lose not only their prestige, but their power, because other countries will then begin to fill up that space. And the decline of the United States that people talk about will actually be hastened. So I don't think Biden will go down that road at all.